Hello everyone, Cyndi Seidelman here with another exciting edition of the home game, and I'm very excited about this one because we're going international with this home game. Now, I've also talked about Wheel of Fortune in the past. You know, I've talked about the Bad Travel edition that I had, the full-fledged second edition from 1985, and we've also played the NES version of Wheel of Fortune, and we got more of those coming up. But we got a foreign version of Wheel of Fortune to talk about, and I'm very excited about this. Because I was on Mercari, and this popped up out of the blue. And it was cheap, and I had to pick it up. It is the second edition Australian Wheel of Fortune. This is a massive box. It's about as big as the deluxe Wheel of Fortune that us Americans got in 1986 and 87. I don't know if I'm getting this in view. Yeah, there he goes. Now, this was released in 2005, and you can tell because it's got Steve Oemke, who a lot of people claim is the worst host, and I think this is Sophie Faulkner, or Carrie Friend. Yeah, I think that's Sophie Faulkner. I can't remember the names. I was never very good with the models in the Australian version of Wheel of Fortune. But I've always heard that great things about Australian home games, that there's some of the best out there. Like, I know there was a home version of Sale of the Century years ago, and it was fantastic. Same thing with Temptation from 2006 and 2007. And I'm just really excited to open up this bad boy and show you all about it. So let's get to that right now. Well, here it is. I forgot to mention this is actually the second edition of the game. I think the first one had Rob Elliott on the box. I'm not quite so sure. But let's break this thing open. And the first thing I do want to talk about is the back of the box. On the back of the box, it actually shows a replicate version of the actual Australian wheel. It didn't divvy up a lot of stuff in 50s. It had some weird amounts like 155, 220, 310, and the big one would always be right by the loser turn, and in this case the first round was 750, at least in 2004. But now we get to crack open this bad boy. Sorry about the reflection, the box is in really great quality. Now, there was some innards into it, but they got damaged to the point beyond repair that it just wasn't working well. When you get to the actual wheel, it has the American logo, and the actual wheel amounts are divvied up into 50s and 100s. I'm guessing that's the case because the game itself had paper money, you know, in 500 increments, 1,000 increments, 100 increments, and of course, $50 increments. Or I should say $50 increments, $1,000 increments, $100 increments, and $500 increments. And we'll set this to the side for right now and talk about the wheel itself.
And then to me, I'll set up the board.
My brother's going to set up the board while I talk about this. Now, this is the exact same wheel that you would have seen in the deluxe edition of Wheel of Fortune that we got in the 80s. And also the bigger editions had a certain wheel, but this one perfectly resembles the 80s version because you actually have wedges that you could put in. Whereas with the more current deluxe editions, as I get a wedge flung at me, oh, here it is. As I pick this up with my foot, I get flung a bankrupt. Well, this is kind of a bankrupt thing anyways. You can put it anywhere on the wheel, have it cover a $100 space. And when you spin it, it's actually like the... It's, you know, you spin it like this. Isn't that a delightful noise? And hope to get the top dollar value, which is $750 in round 1. And there are instructions to this which could be altered to your different rounds. This is the round 1. I'll take this off because that is the round 1 wheel. Now I just need to get the other wedges and the instruction booklet. Here's a look at the instruction booklet. It's a lot more polished than what you would see in America because it has this glossy paper, whereas the other versions just have a paper one. Now, here are the rest of the wedges. There's your bankrupt, there's the 1,000, 900, 2,500, another 500, and the big 5,000, which they never had a $5,000 space in the Australian version of Wheel of Fortune. They had 2,500 at the end. They had 1,000. Yeah, they had 1,000 later on, and I think they also had 1,500. But they never had 5,000. Something special for the home game. Now, during play with the round 1 wheel, the manual tells you what to replace with what. So if you're doing round 2, well, I should also show off that the labels, that the instructions are pretty much identical to that of the 80s version, because they have dollar amounts, whereas the Australian version never did. The Australian version didn't, the British version didn't, only the American and French-Canadian Wheel of Fortune did have the dollar amounts. Now, here is what's replacing. If we're playing round 2, we take the bankrupt right here and we place it over the red 150. Like so. And this is according to the directions in the manual. We take this 500 and replace it with any other 150 on the wheel. It could be however you want. So I'm going to do the 500 right here on this 150. And we take this $1,000 wedge and we put it over the 750. And that would be the round 2 wheel. Then in round 3, we remove this 500 and insert 900 over 150. Now this is going by what the instruction manual tells us. We'll go right here. And we put this $2,500 space over one of the 250s. We'll put it right here. So $2,500 will be like that. And then we take the big $5,000 space, well, not the 500, the $5,000 space over the 100. And I gotta be honest, sometimes it's best to do it like the actual show and stick it right next to a bankrupt. It's a tight fit, but you can get it to work. And just spin it like this. I got a free spin. And in the manual, if you land on a free spin, you get a free spin token and you continue your turn. And by the way, it's nice to know of the recycling that they still use the American 1980s free spins. And when I whip out the 4th edition of Wheel of Fortune, they have free place tokens instead of actually having it be free play. I don't understand that. But anyways, it plays like actual Wheel of Fortune. Spin the wheel, and we have the puzzle board, which we have right here. The number... Oh, look at the tilt action on this thing. Isn't it glorious? It's a lot better than the American version, I do believe. Because it would stay straight up, whereas this version tilts. And it's perfect for how we shoot. It's glorious. And this is puzzle occupation 78. So you go to your manual, you go to solution 78. Okay. Now I'm going to have my brother try to play the game. We're going to use the round 4 wheel. Garrett, if you can you come over please to this chair? Or are you in a precarious position?
I'm in a precarious position right now.
Okay, so we won't do that. Sorry about that, folks. But what Garrett would do is he would spin the wheel. Oh.
And then I would lose my turn immediately because I landed on bankrupt. Now, let's go to an alternate reality where that doesn't happen. Hit 200.
200, so you pick a letter.
S.
Okay. 2 of them. There you go. And because this is the Australian version, you only get $200.
Yeah, there's no multiple letters gets you the 200 each.
That's right, not in the Australian version.
Okay then.
So thankfully, in round 4, you got the 1,000 and 2,500 still on the wheel. So you're not at a loss at any time. You could still catch up. So he would spin again. Not like that. 100.
T.
I would open up the book. They got 3 of them. You have 300. We'll just say you want to buy a vowel.
Yeah.
Pick a vowel.
E.
Going back to the book, and there are 3 E's. Position 3, position 6, and position 21. Think you could get it?
Yeah.
What is
I'd
it?
like to solve the puzzle.
Go for it.
Secretary of State.
You got it. Now you get to pick for one of 3 lovely prizes. You could have this leather garment set. You could also have this pen and pencil set, or you could have a dishwasher.
I prefer to be completely honest and say, and to counteract the incoming comments saying, like, since I'm the one who set up the board, I obviously knew what the answer was. Let's be honest here.
You didn't. Oh, you did?
Yeah, because I set up the board, so I saw what the answer was. One cool thing that is about the game is because when it comes to these types of boards, they actually have 2 different puzzles in them, and you can flip the one page that you have there upside down.
Actually, there's 4 different boards.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one on the same side of the page. But yes, there is.
Yep.
There are ones on both sides.
There are 2 on one side, but if you turn it around, you would have a different puzzle. And, for example, if I were to do a different puzzle, I will set this up to where Garrett doesn't know the puzzle.
And this time I am covering up my eyes.
Yep. And it's a title. So we would spin. You get 250.
T.
There are 2 T's. Just gotta go back to T, but I know there are 2 T's because I set up this puzzle. Oh, and a tip for everybody who plays along with this home game: do not pick a Q. There are no cues in any of the puzzles. Yeah, there are no cues. Now, what'd you say, T?
Yeah, T.
Yeah, there are two. You have enough to buy a vowel.
A.
No A's. So, spin, 200, letter,
S.
3 of them. Oops.
By the way, you do need to be careful when you're holding up because you can see the lines underneath each of the letters that are actually a part of the puzzle.
Yep.
Because then that way you know where the letters go.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to spin one more time. No. No. 900.
R.
One of them. You know what? I have an idea. No, wait, there's another R. How about this? Why don't we set this up for the people at home? You have the RSTs, and we're going to give you the L's, the N's, and the E's. And if you know the answer, leave a comment. Was it not picking up from where it was standing?
It couldn't pick up the underscores.
Oh. Well, that's the puzzle right there. Now you know where the blanks are. But try to guess the puzzle. And if you solve it, I'll congratulate you in the comments.
You get an internet cookie.
Yep, free internet cookies for everybody. Yay! And what I love about this is that this is solid paper used for the puzzles, compared to the American version, which, it feels like paper. This one feels durable and built to last. But that's going to do it for this. Sorry. That's going to do it for this edition of the home game. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Leave a comment if you want to suggest more home games for us to test. Comment, like if you really like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and if you want to see any videos a day before anyone else before they come out, become a Patreon backer at patreon.com/gameshowgumbo. I am Cyndi Seidelman. Until next time, we'll leave you with the Breakfast Club close. Steve Wemke always sucked as a game show host. I am totally ripping off god-awful movies.